Well, somebody called Dave Ramsey to ask how to financially prepare for a divorce. So we're going to hear what Dave Ramsey has to say, and we're also going to hear what an actual divorce lawyer, yours truly, has to say about it. This is the Lawyer Dana Show.
Hi, guys. Thanks so much for taking my call. I have just really complicated situation. I'm going to try to distill down to make the most of this call, but potential separation coming up with my husband. He's active duty military, and he makes a good living, and I work part-time and homeschool, and just facing if we were to, separate that, we've been making great traction together, and besides all the emotional stuff and everything, but I've got him on board with Dave Ramsey and Chris Hogan, and we've been paying down almost $50,000 of debt in the past 3 years, and basically I'll go down to just making probably bill money, and I'm just wondering how I can prepare for that. And we talked about maybe staying together just for a financial thing, but
No, you don't stay together for a financial reason.
Being, he would be a geographical bachelor. I wouldn't PCS with him anymore. So just wondering what your advice might be on that.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you guys are facing this.
Yep. Totally sucks.
I would, number one, if you're facing something this serious, you need to get a pro in your corner.
Correct. She needs to talk to a divorce lawyer immediately.
And that means you guys need to be sitting down with
If there's any hope of emotionally saving the marriage, that should be the first step. That should be the definite first step.
Good, strong marriage counselor who can coach you guys through how to make good, wise decisions. I didn't hear anything, just from a common sense perspective, healthy about you guys staying married just for financial purposes. That's weird.
That is definitely weird, and you should definitely not do that.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, that just sounds weird.
Good. She's got some common sense.
That's just a guy talking. I'm not a professional, but I mean, it's just...
I am. Don't stay together for financial reasons.
Just sounds weird. So...
we still love each other. It's just he's kind of there's so many good things, but
who's he having an affair with?
She said he was military.
Who's he having the affair with?
He's decided to change genders.
Oh,
that direction.
Now I think we have done this one.
Who is he having an affair with?
So I would love to say, hey, let's be friends for the rest of our lives that are married, but that
nope.
just seems weird, right?
Yeah. Staying married in that situation is going to be very strange.
Why does he want to change gender?
I don't know. Why do people want to change gender?
I don't know.
Yeah. And so...
I think they need to know that.
I think someone coaching you, a good counselor, can coach you through how to set some... processes and boundaries in place to, to create a timeline. And then, even though this sounds, you said all the emotions are there, but it also sounds like you guys are just talking about this all still, in terms of, you've got a good dialogue going, it sounds like, so that's good.
Yeah.
But
I would want to know a lot more information.
Even in that good situation, as good a situation as it can be in a bad situation, you still, once you decide to divorce, the transaction changes to a business transaction. Right.
That is true, although not exactly, especially if there's kids.
Yeah.
The best way to handle that is you focus on what the healthy solution is. Because when you focus on it as a business transaction, it is a zero-sum game. It's $1 from me goes to $1 from you. 1 minute with the kids with me goes from 1 minute with you. That's not the way to look at it. You can maximize these things, and a good family law attorney will do that. And the way that you do that is you focus on what is healthy, because when you focus on what's healthy, that is the only way that you maximize things. If you really just focus on this as a business transaction, then you're looking at it as a zero-sum game. But when you open the paradigm and you look at a bigger picture, you realize there's infinity amount of possibilities and goodness that can come out of an arrangement by focusing on the guidepost of what is healthy.
And so, and it doesn't mean you have to be mean to someone because it's a business transaction, but you have to be thorough and you have to think through the math. Like, for instance, he has an income and you don't. How much debt is left? Whose name is on the debt? Is there a house involved?
These are all basic things that we do as part of the financial transaction and financial analysis of what needs to be there. But the transaction itself cannot and should not be looked at, like so many attorneys do, in a vacuum of just analyzing just from a pure numbers. What are the consequences of what the numbers mean? How do you maximize that in a way that is healthy? And that's what gets you there, because the reasons why you need to do certain things and why there are benefits to both people by a number of arrangements of different ways that you can analyze something. It's not just, I've got a canvas and I've got paint, so put paint on canvas. No. It's what is it that you're trying to paint, and paint a beautiful picture of something that is healthy.
You know, all these kinds of things start to be a business transaction that have to be done on the very, very clear boundaries. We see this a lot.
We really do. And Victoria, one thing I want to suggest, and by no way am I saying I'm a marriage therapist, but at the same time, let's not prolong it. You know, let's have a honest conversation, like Dave said. Are we going to do this, or are we not?
The way that you have that conversation is this a healthy marriage or not? Again, your key guidepost is healthy. Do we have a healthy marriage? Yes
You're
or no?
not having a healthy marriage if your husband's wanting to change gender.
No, you don't.
No.
And unless you're wanting to be married to a
Woman.
man who has changed gender into a woman,
Yeah.
then this is not where you want to go. And if your marriage is heading to an iceberg, you got to get off the Titanic, or you got to change the direction of the Titanic. But you know it is not healthy for this ship to hit that iceberg.
Yeah.
Focus on what's healthy. And if the relationship is not healthy, either make it a healthy one or get as healthy of a divorce as you possibly can.
It has to be really hard.
It is. We've encountered these things in cases.
Yeah, it's just, it's sad.
It is.
And once you decide what you're going to do, then y'all need to go down that path with the right counsel. One thing I have seen is a lot of people prolong this situation out, and then it gets worse and it gets worse down the road. So
Absolutely. We've seen people prolong it out for decades, and it does not get better. You either make it better, and you make it better now, you get on it. But if you're going to put your head in the sand or you're going to drink yourself out of reality and hide in some kind of thing or hide in a depression, it just gets worse and worse and worse. So it doesn't have to get worse and worse and worse. You can stop it. Make it healthy. You can. Decide first. The decision comes first, and then reality starts to reflect the decision. The decision is very simple. Decide that we are ending the unhealthy marriage, and we're going to try and make it a healthy one. And if you can't make this marriage a healthy marriage, then you get as healthy of a divorce as you can. Easy decision. Easy decision. Hard to do. Difficult to do emotionally, but worth it. And you should do it. And if you simply decide and follow that path, you're going to get there and you'll have healthy. If you're driving a car and you start to spin out, you point the wheels in the direction that you want the car to go. If you're skiing, if you look at the trees, you're going to hit the tree. Where do you look? You look at the space in between the trees where it is that you want to go. If you're driving a NASCAR on a circular track, you look at that wall on the right and you're going to hit the wall. Where do you look? You look where you want the car to go. You point the wheels in the direction that you want the car to go. You point your marriage in the direction of healthy. You want to have a healthy marriage? Decide and have a healthy marriage and then focus on that. It takes a lot of communication, takes work. You need to see some professionals to give you suggestions on how you can improve yours. But make your unhealthy marriage, if you have one, into a healthy marriage. And if you can't do that, then get as healthy of a divorce as you can.
So have the conversation, decide what you're going to do, and then once you get there, immediately seek out wise counsel
Yes.
to walk you all through this step. But I gotta say, awesome job with at least being kind to each other in the midst of this process.
Absolutely. You be as absolutely kind as possible. The reward for marrying you should not be mutual destruction. It should not be anger. At the moment that you know that the marriage is over, great, the fighting's done. I have no more emotional attachment. Why? Because the decision's been made. Today's the last day of our marriage. What do we need to do to get through the process in the healthiest way possible? If you're over there acting a fool and doing all kinds of nonsense or whatever, I'm not going to care. Because I've already made the decision. I've decided to go through whatever emotional grieving process I'm going to go through on my own. I'll be fine with it. I don't need anything further. I don't need any further reaction. I don't need any further response from them. I don't need closure or validation. It doesn't matter. The decision's already been made. All that stuff, it's done. The fighting's over. Now I have healthy because I'm not fighting against it anymore. It's let it be whatever. And if they're going to do whatever it is that they're going to do, so be it. It's fine. No sense in getting upset about it. Go through the sadness, go through whatever the grieving is, but heal. And don't give them your power. Don't let them ruin your present because of things that happened in the past. Don't let them ruin your present based on worry about the future.
So, in other words, if your name is on a debt and he is obligated to pay it in the divorce decree and does not, they do not come after him. The divorce decree does not remove you from liability. You're still liable for that debt.
So that's critically important. You cannot let them be responsible for paying a debt in your name because they won't pay it, and then you have no good remedy about that. If anything, you make sure the debt is paid that are in your name, or that you're taking enough property to where you have to pay that debt that's in your name and you're getting compensated by having enough somewhere else. Never let them take a debt that is in your name. Big mistake that people make all the time.
That's what I mean by a business transaction. You've got to sit down and think about those kinds of things so that these debts anything's got your name on it gets cleared. The second thing you've got to do is you got to get in Ken Coleman's materials because you're going to have to develop a career track. Yeah,
that's true. And Ken Coleman's material is very good. From paycheck to purpose, excellent.
Part-time and stay-at-home mom is not in your future anymore. Yeah, you're now a single mom.
I mean, unless they have enough property to where she doesn't have to work because her investments are earning enough income to live off of. But even then, she needs to work.
Divorced. And so what are you going to do with your life? And what's your career look like? What's your job look like? And, you got to get on that really fast because you're going to need an income. Yes, you're going to get child support. Yes, you may get some alimony. Yeah. Yes, he may pick up a lot of the bills. But you've still got to create a full-time income in this situation to exist.
Yep. And in Texas, if you don't attempt to get a job during the divorce process, you don't qualify for spousal maintenance anymore. You have to put forth a good and diligent attempt to obtain gainful employment. If you sit and don't get a job or attempt and do your best and be able to convince the court that you've attempted to get a job, you can't get spousal maintenance or alimony.
And Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but now that child becomes her number one priority. It's no longer him.
Sure.
That's true. If you're splitting up, he's no longer the number one priority. You have to take care of your kids.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
so,
I mean that would be
obvious, but I just
it was that is the way it has to go.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is a lot of things that people think would be obvious aren't actually obvious because people are so far under the water and in the trees of the whole thing that they have a hard time seeing their way out of it. And so things that you would think, because you're not in the thick of it, yeah, that is obvious, not necessarily obvious to people when they're going through it, which is another reason why you should not try and handle your own divorce. But a good lawyer is going to help you with that. You want a family law attorney who does family law for a living, and there's sort of two different extremes. One is the total jerk and aggressive and gonna fight and do all this stuff. The other one is effective, who is going to find a good, healthy solution for you and likely get much better results than the fools over here who think that they have to continue the fighting. These are the people who aren't emotionally ready and they want to punish the other side. These type of lawyers are the ones that you hire because you want revenge, which, by the way, you can never get. but you'll pay them a whole bunch of money trying to get it. As opposed to if you focus on what's healthy, that's what you'll get.
No, it has to be that way. So, hey, thank you for calling. I'm sorry you guys are facing this. Open phones at 888-825-5225. One of the things that I see, Anthony, that divorce attorneys make a huge mistake on quite often.
Well, this just got interesting.
Is, or couples do, and the divorce attorneys allow it to happen, just as a matter of transaction, is, say a typical case study might be, husband leaves the household,
Okay.
they get divorced, mom is left with the house, and most of the time has a lesser income.
And can't afford the house and burns herself down financially, trying to hold on to something that she can't really afford because she is not willing to face the reality of the situation. She hasn't been equipped to deal with the finances about it and is too emotionally attached and has to learn the hard way. Don't let that happen. We try to prevent that from happening as much as possible.
It's not a statement of that's what she deserves, it's a statement of fact.
Right.
Okay? Most of the time she has a lesser income and can't afford the house payment.
Right.
Yep.
But is trying to hold on to the house
Yep.
to keep it stable for the kids. And the house should have just been sold.
Yes.
And to get the bill off of her. She does not need that bill to go with her new level of responsibility financially that she's got to pick up.
Although I will tell you, we have a lot more people staying in houses, especially because of low interest rates and with housing prices, to not have to sell that house. Often the difference in interest rates for not having to refinance the house is more money than the child support she would even receive, or he, depending on who's keeping the house, because this is not necessarily gender biased anymore. A good attorney who understands that and who simply takes the time to look at that and say, what if we take an axe and divide everything in half, chainsaw through everything, and here's how much you're going to get, here's how much they're going to get. What does that look like? And is there a way that we could arrange this in a way that will maximize money, either not giving it to the government or not giving it to the skyscrapers in downtown with Bank of America and Chase Bank on the top of them? There's a lot of different ways that if you're wise and a good family law attorney will look at, just like we do, is we figure out what is it really going to look like for you? What is your cash flow position? What is your ultimate value position after the divorce is done? Tons of attorneys they stop. We're going to get you as much as we can and good luck, without even looking at, well, what is the consequence of this particular division about that? We can almost always more than pay for ourselves just in how we arrange the puzzle pieces, as opposed to how people would naturally normally do it.
Up now. That's thing one. Thing two is, that from a husband's perspective, the lawyer tells him in the case where he's leaving the house to her, to quit claim the house over to her. Give up his ownership. And they never address the fact that he's still on the mortgage.
Bad attorneys do that. We always address that fact.
Yeah.
Again, any debt that the other side is supposed to pay, we deal with. And we've got a case right now where we're doing an enforcement about that very deal. And it's an issue and it's a problem. And Dave's right. That's very, very common, which is why you need to go to somebody who really knows what they're doing. Don't go to an attorney who, as a favor to you because you're friends with them, they're going to do your divorce, because they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And you definitely don't know what they don't know. And you don't know what you don't know. So you need somebody that knows as much as possible about this process to anticipate the problems that you don't know that you have.
Right.
And so he's liable on the mortgage, so he gave up the asset and kept the liability.
Yes.
Yeah, big mistake.
And then he goes to buy another house someday,
And he
Can't.
can't.
and he can't because he already owns a house.
Yes.
As far as the debt goes.
Yeah.
He's already in debt on that other house. He's not been released from liability. So in that case, I would, if I were going through that, I would require that the house either be sold or refinanced.
Or if you don't refinance, you get a thing called a deed of trust to secure assumption. It's a deed that allows you to take possession of the house if they don't pay it, which could be a really good deal for you. And only a good, high quality, high caliber family attorney is going to know something like that. But you know, and we know, and I know that you know that we know. And you should subscribe to the Lawyer Dana podcast. This is the Lawyer Dana Show.